Hey Pisces. Happy to be here. Happy to be reading for you. So off the bat, I wanted to acknowledge too that during the course of this month, I knew Venus was moving, but I neglected to write it down. So Venus will be moving into Aries, so we'll touch on that too as well right now. So this is also about Venus moving into Aries. For those of you, especially Pisces rising, is going into your second house. Your ability and your abundance of energy putting into yourself, into your resources, or finding the different resources and being able to utilize what you have is going to become very apparent, and then communicating that to the world. Or vice versa, you start communicating and then you get really clear on what skills you want to develop. You know, all of a sudden the focus gets sharp. That could be a very real feeling around that time, and that would be the 4th when Jupiter goes direct. And I don't know if I talked about that at all. However, this could also be the time where that's when you begin to really make decisions. It's not just towards the end of the month when Uranus goes direct, but in between the moments of the 4th and the 30th and the 4th. Sorry, I remember I did that. The 30th and the 4th, those will be the times you'll either act outside of yourself, out of ego in some ways, or you'll be able to retract in a way that is very beneficial for you. Being more observant, being more aware, looking at not just what you're doing, but what others are doing around you, and what flow you want to go with and where they're coming from. Some people just are following probably certain motions in their life, and you wouldn't know that though, right? You really wouldn't know that unless you really took the time to observe and realize, like, oh, not everybody has an individual mindset, and including you. Like, we all have this communal tribal part of us, but there's an instinctual side right now that's becoming very apparent before Saturn and Neptune move into Aries. And it's giving us, I think, the more intuitive you are, the more in tune with yourself you are, you start to feel the shift, like I talked about before a little earlier. So you might feel like you need to have independence. And it's possible that if you're also with a Taurus, they're very supportive of this. Or they're also becoming more independent in ways that is going to be beneficial for both of you, even though it's something you haven't done yet together. And now I want to touch on all of what's been leading up to this. So the Tower moment clarifying the 7 of Cups is showing you that whatever it is that you have been, again, struggling to focus on, feeling confusion about, confusion to me usually means there's something deeper to know, something more that has unfortunately felt not so obvious, right, to know in your life. And this could be a disruption of some sort. Again, this could be around the 30th when Uranus goes direct in your 3rd house of communication. You may not realize how much what's been going on around you has been deliberate. And we talked about that in last month. Like, there's some lingering, you realizing, like, oh, you were promised something that you didn't get. People are saying shit but not owning up to it, so might as well put this energy into myself. And it's really interesting because when you finally come to the decision, you're like, what the fuck was I even deciding between? But it's because you were in this energy where you didn't feel there was a lack of empowerment going on, because in the situation that you were in, or with this person's Knight of Pentacles, they made you feel like you had no power. They knew how to disarm you, right? And which means they're probably master manipulators, because to manipulate a Pisces that bad is either really easy or really fucking hard. So Page of Pentacles comes out next. It's time to speak up. During the Tower moment, during these moments where there are life-altering shifts, it's you needing to speak up more, even if it feels uncomfortable, because that will put you on a faster track. Share what you've been through, perhaps even. Like really connecting to people, Pisces. Sorry, the card was coming out weird. Is what will help you reconnect to your intuition in a way that we talked about last month, but now you're seeing basically why it's been that way. Because you've been disconnected from your heart. If you close off your heart in a way, you're closing off a view of you. Whether it's the positive side of rose-colored glasses or the negative, you're closing off a view, right? Because then her eyes are covered, right? But this is also, I'd like to say that could be a deep surrender to a choice to be passive, right? You may think it was the right thing at the time. We have 2 crescent moons here as well. I want to acknowledge that. I love this interpretation that I learned, that the crescent moon lays at the high priestess's feet because she doesn't go by the ways of the moon. She just knows. So whatever this power was that this person took from you, perhaps by words that they've said, manipulation that they've done, the more that you speak up and out of it, the more it's clear that they attacked you right in the place that you need the most and that you operate from the most, which is the ether. This can date back 7 or so years too. And now finally during this Venus and Pisces transit, you get the chance to unveil this to yourself. That the heart being closed kept you from knowing certain things and kept your brain protecting you, right? Because your mind and your heart weren't in the same place. You know, there was a certain protection going on. You maybe have chosen to be blind, this is also chosen ignorance. But a part of you knew you couldn't, I think there's this instinctual part that knew you couldn't handle it. But the truth is, that was all just made up lies. You can handle it. You can. What you've been through is probably much worse than handling whatever it is that you need to know about yourself. We're going to get a little bit more on that. What you need to know and be deeply connected to at this time. Sorry, I keep hitting that. Think when Jupiter and Venus move, it's going to be that'll be a time where you'll feel the shift. You really will. You'll feel the shift, especially in how you choose to communicate. How this has been built off of a certain foundation, right? And how that has been disruptive in your talents and your assets. We have another Aries card coming out here. I just want to make sure I got... Ooh, I'm so sorry. I'm clumsy. It's just because I'm excited. I get quirky. You ever see a Libra excited? We get quirky, or even a Taurus. Our weirdness comes out. Okay. So I wanted to clarify more of the High Priestess here, but I think this is really also for the bottom. On the other side of this, the 2s all came out too. So relationships are really, really important this year. What you've learned spiritually and behind the scenes, and what you've been gathering, the information you've been gathering and learning and digesting, is really important for your future relationships. No, I'll put it up here. So what this is going to show you is the part that has been almost like missing from you, has been shut down. The parts of you that didn't feel good is this part of you that knows that there's so much out there. Anytime a Pisces fears abundance or is scared of, the ability to see it all, right? That's, for me, it shows that somewhere in there, the responsibility feels like big. But the Pisces that knows that the responsibility won't just be on them, but it will be on whomever is around you helping you. Also, your connection to God, because God does not fear anything. The harshest things on this earth, God does not fear, right? The universe does not fear. It has created it in some kind of way, right? And this flip, this healing, right? It's deeper than a flip. It's a healing. And for so long, even if this person isn't literally in your life anymore, you know, they were a part of your life for a while. And they instilled, you may not realize that certain voices in your head, if you have any, like certain voices, certain even negative voices that come up, if you really meditate on them, it's probably not even yours and didn't come from you. It's something you absorbed. That's the other thing about being a water sign. You absorb. You do without knowing, which is why I've talked to you about being very conscious of your aura, which is your energy. Very, very conscious of who walks in. Maybe even doing visualizations to protect yourself, right? Really locking that in, because that can also manipulate you in ways that, in doing things that aren't good for you. I'm not saying don't be generous. I'm not saying don't help people. But there are times where you just know that you can't. And you really need to stay focused. And now is one of those times. Because what you're beginning to understand is the more that you take responsibility for your dreams and desires that are coming to you, the more you see it build. See that 10 of Pentacles? The more you see that build. You see that build, and then there's the Fool. And then the courage, the bravery, the heart. It almost like all comes back to you. So you're in a time where you're really letting go of some things that you didn't realize were taking up space in your life that has been, maybe you're asking like, what's stopping my abundance? What's stopping things from moving? Why do I get like this? Why do I get like that? Saturn has been working through you, right? So every day you have to step up to the plate. Right? Then now we have the eclipses in your sign, big changes. Saturn's going to move out, relief. So the changes are going to be this bigger shift. So next month we'll really get into that, right? And then Saturn is the day-to-day shifts. So this bravery and stability, it's like this stable confidence, like almost just comes right back to you. It's almost like you have like a soul retrieval, which I know those can sound woo-woo, but it's like really a piece of you that has been left behind in this time of life, and you, for some reason, that part of your spirit was dampened, but now it's being reawakened. Aries is going to reawaken a lot. So Venus goes into Aries and it moves you, right? And now this learning and what you've gathered, maybe it felt slow, but really like a couple weeks isn't slow. It's not, it's in the big grand scheme of things, 2 weeks is nothing. You could do anything for 2 weeks. And if you don't think you can, now you got to start with your mindset. Start with the mindset. Yes, you can. Do something small for 2 weeks, right? And then it shifts and starts to move in a different direction because you decided to listen. Because you decided to listen to yourself. Yeah, this Page of Pentacles is 3 of Pentacles. Whatever person that was keeping things from moving faster or whatever it was with this relationship. I'm sorry, I keep reading this. It's now time to understand that whatever pain or trouble or chaos or disruption this has caused you, it's now time to see the lessons. Another 7 coming out. Another earthly, spiritual. Another behind the scenes. What did this person teach you? Like, I don't want to talk about what they taught me. They taught me that they're a fuckboy. They taught me that they're a piece of shit. They taught me that they're... Yeah, that people can do that. For sure. But what else? Boundaries. What else? That you have so much on your plate that you're able to utilize, and they've been keeping you from it because something happened in your mind where you started to believe it. right? So that keeps you farther and farther away from what you have to offer, from your skills. All of a sudden, different ideas come up. And now you're like debating between which ones you put out there. Maybe you put out a survey, right? Maybe if you're looking to expand and if you're in a job, maybe you start talking about different ideas that you have that you want to do. You start to create maybe a niche for yourself. Maybe you get asked to do something and you're pulling the tide your way and you're getting asked to do something that is that you're a lot more passionate about. Whatever it is, it's time to communicate. It's time to talk. It's time to go. It's time to direct. It's time to heal any stagnancy. Start to heal it even deeper right now, especially wherever you're being brought to in this life, especially whatever's keeping you from your abundance, because there's a lot of fortuitive lessons here, right? That's the Two of Pentacles going back and forth. There's a lot of fortuitous lessons here. If you don't think so, then you're not ready to face that. You're not ready to move forward, right? And then I just said that and the Five of Pentacles comes out. It's time. It's possible that these transits will start to kind of scream it from, like, you may get jealous of this person or you see something that you want. Those are good signs that it's time to move forward. It's time to say, like, I can have that. I'm getting shown this. I'm feeling this kind of way because I know I can do that too. So it's very loud and clear. Loud and clear. And it's coming. It almost feels like it's coming out of nowhere. But it's been building up. Pluto is in your 12th house right now for Pisces risings and any Aquarius placements. But this is also Aquarius season coupled with Pluto. So it's just very loud and clear and you feel it in your head. It's like, what's the loudest thing in your head? It's usually your ego speaking. But for you right now, it's because you've gotten to the place where, for a lot of you, you see where it's coming from. You almost feel a stillness. It's like the very calm before the storm. And the storm can be a really good thing. It's a good thing for your power. Empowered to move on from any situation that is not, you just know it's not it. You know you can go for more. That's the confidence boost. That's the good fortune. This is the turn right here. This is Jupiter going direct. This is Venus going into Aries. And it's just a very clear sign that if it has been, and then, this is Uranus going direct first. And then that happens. And then all of a sudden, because you have a moment where you like feel the fortune, then all of a sudden you can feel that stuck and you're like, there's something still I'm moving through here. Sorry, I've just had the flu, so I'm going to be sniffling. And you feel it deeply. You can feel it in your mind. You can feel it through how you're speaking. You can hear the clarity and the power in your voice. You can feel the passion coming through your body at this time, possibly. And we have the Wheel of Fortune, which is all fixed signs. We're entering a fixed sign month. The one thing that they know and are so good at for manifestation, you guys, mutable signs know when it's time, that it's like time to go. It's time to spread your wings. It's time to expand. That's what you're really good at identifying. But fixed signs are good at not settling and knowing when to stay and when to go. You would think that would be cardinal signs, but fixed signs, they start to feel a lot of more like of that, because it's like around the corner. Fixed signs remind me more of the squares, like where friction starts to be caused for them to know, like, okay, it's like, it's time to move on. Like there's unnecessary bullshit happening and I'm not about this life. If they're an evolving fixed sign, they don't care about bullshit, but they have a lot of bullshit to work through. Absolutely. And that's what you've done. So this change, you'll notice, has to do with how you're starting to rebuild your life at this time. And what in your life actually needs to be rebuilt, and also what in your life doesn't need to be rebuilt but needs to be utilized. How resourceful you are. right? With money, with people, with insight, with reading others, and feeling their energy, but knowing how to create that boundary between you and the other person. That's going to be something that you start to do whether you've been sick or in a really, low situation for a while, and you've needed to create some separation. This is now the time to, if you haven't been able to do that, or if you have utilized that process a little bit, that's where this comes in. It's about bringing a little disassociation, which is Aquarius's strong suit, bringing a little bit of distance, right? You're like, but you don't want to cause distance. Like, that causes like pause. This is patience, so you understand which direction you're going in, and you feel it deeply. You're not just going because you know that's going to bring you the most money, the most this. That's ego, which is important, that desire, but it's also like what's really fulfilling. What do you find yourself talking about, speaking up about, taking no shit about? Especially in love. Yeah, love, finances. 2 5s out shows you that something maybe spontaneous may shift this month. And it's because you're choosing not to settle. It's because you feel the empowerment, the independence. You feel both connected and independent of. And that is super important. And that is like the healing of codependency. And you noticing anytime that creeps up on you in any given situation, you just need to reassess. Because yes, we need each other. You need people. But you also need you. They probably need you more than you need them. But you also need them. And you need someone to help you in this way. You need someone to be able to stand up to your ability to get lost. You need someone to help redirect you at times. We have 2 10s out too. So, new beginning. Change. Good change. Healthy change. A lot is coming in for you. And the reason why you go through this is to clear your energy, clear your mind, mental energy, emotional energy, to get you to a place where you're so clear and receptive to your life. So you're making not choices out of default or feeling pressured or even desperation. You're making decisions because you want to make that decision, because you don't want to do that anymore, because you're done. And now you're ready to really put things and move things into your own way. Now this is where you get to gather in the next months coming ahead all the places which you manifest really well, where things come to you really easy, and then what doesn't. That could be thoughts, inspirations, an idea to move on quickly. Notice ideas you're willing to move on quickly, and the ones you aren't. The resistance is usually a key that there's something very significant there. So a lot of abundance, a lot of overview, but there from the 30th to the 4th, and probably the 5th, 6th, around that time, be willing to have hard conversations and and I think you're going to be prepared for them regardless, as long as you're taking care of all of this in yourself. Because you may realize you have a lot more to say than you realize. Okay? All right, Pisces. I love you so much. Good luck to you. Oh yes, love situations. Love situations. You could, if you've been moving on from someone for a while, or the breakup just happened, or something just happened, this is a really big, flexible time of healing. So if you really want to move on and let go and really find the person and meet the person and be willing and brave, all the things I said still apply. And you may meet someone during this Aries transit in Venus, or Venus transit in Aries. I'm so dyslexic sometimes. Will it be long term? That's up to you and up to how you decide to move forward with things. But either way, it could be a significant relationship for even moving you through this feeling stuck. It's like meeting the right person at the right time for what you're going through now. Could it become long term? Maybe. But either way, there will be options, and the option to focus on yourself. And that person will, I believe the right person will just be on the same page with you, not try to rush you or force you. And vice versa. Deeper, more difficult, deeper conversations will have to be had between you and others, and you've been kind of going through it already internally. So don't be surprised if that comes up this month. All right, we'll see you soon.